Raider Nation? My name is Mitchell Renz. Y'all are watching the Raiders Reporting. Coming up here on today's show, surprise cut candidates for the Las Vegas Raiders. The key word there is this: surprise. Every single player that I'm about to talk about, I have featured as being a guy that makes the Raiders roster on those 53-man roster cut days, which, speaking of which, the silver and black and all NFL teams got to trim that roster from 91, 90, all the way down to 53 by 4 p.m. Eastern time on August 26th. I'm going to be live 2 hours before that because that's what we like to do around here. So if you want to pull up, you want to talk a little bit of Raiders, hit that subscribe button and make sure those notifications are turned on. Let's go to the first player here. I will say I'm going to go offense, and then I will go to the defensive side of the football. I have 6 players in total, and I'm going to put Raheem Mostert on the surprise cut candidate list for the silver and black. I've had some conversations over the past week with some people with the Raiders, and I'm not saying that it's been a conversation that's been brought up a lot, but it is a conversation that is being had, and I want to be very clear about that. Ashton Jeanty looks ready and comfortable to handle a lot of those passing duties, and because of that, I do wonder if the Raiders could go, well, we kind of brought Mostert in to be that pass protector, to be somebody that can catch the football, but if Jeanty's able to show that he can catch the football, and if a guy like Sincere McCormick has shown that he can run block very well. I think also Chris Collier has shown that he can run block pretty well. But also what they add, McCormick, Laube, and Collier, what they offer that Mostert doesn't offer, and also a guy like Zamir White doesn't offer, is the ability to play special teams. You're not going to put a 32-year-old running back at special teams, and if you're so confident in your running back one, which I don't know about y'all, I'm very confident in Ashton Jeanty, and quite frankly, if he steps off the field, I don't really give a damn who steps on as long as they hang on to the football. So if you want to be able to breed some of these younger running backs that also give you some special teams ability and you can move on from Mostert, yeah, you don't save a lot of money, but you save $1.4 million, you eat only $175,000. Based on those reasons, I could see they moving on from him. Now, he's played a little bit this preseason. He's averaging 5 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns, 0 first downs. He does have 1 first down receiving on 4 targets, 3 catches, and that's like why he was brought into this team. But I'm also not just trying to sit up here and pay a running back and a guy that I get it. He's got Chip Kelly connections, but there's no future with Raheem Mostert. And I understand that. Y'all understand that. And if it means that we might be able to keep another player that gives us that special teams ability, I would rather the Raiders cut Raheem Mostert and keep an extra safety. Go keep an extra linebacker. Go keep an extra defensive back. We need more help on defense. I'm very confident in Ashton Jeanty. Let's go to the next surprise cut candidate here. It's going to be wide receiver Tommy Mellott. And some of y'all might be surprised that I'm saying this, but this is also a conversation that is being had with the Las Vegas Raiders. And Mellott was drafted in the 6th round, 213 overall this past season. I've had the opportunity to talk to him. I've had the opportunity to interview him. But my job here, and I have the utmost respect for Tommy and Mellott, if you watch this show, I'm rooting for you. And here's the thing. Every single person amongst Raider Nation is rooting for Tommy Mellott. He is a very athletic player. He's just got to be able to figure out what the NFL speed is because he looks like a dude that is very athletic, that has never played wide receiver, that has never played special teams at the level that he is playing. Like, think about the adjustment that it takes for an FCS wide receiver to the NFL. Now, think about the adjustment it takes for an FCS. I get it. He was the Heisman Trophy winner, the best player in FCS last season, Walter Payton Award winner, and now he's playing in the NFL. It's a development, though, and he's just not ready there, but you can see glimpses of him being a good athlete. Preseason stats obviously aren't doing him any favors here, but he is somebody that's been buried on that depth chart. He is somebody that's buried on the wide receiver room. And he's somebody there, if the Raiders are legitimately trying to win football games this season, they might not keep him on the team because there are other players that are just much better than him. Like, if we were to talk about, if there was a 73-man roster cut, I don't know if Tommy Mellott is in that top 73. Now, he's a developmental piece, and I'm hoping that they do end up keeping him. But this is a tough decision that's going to have to be made, which is why I'm going to ask you all what you would do. Should the Raiders keep Tommy Mellott? And if you're typing keep, you got to know he's not going to play this season. And if he does, it's because other players went down or else it just all of a sudden clicks in his head. So give me a keep, give me a cut. Let me know what you guys are thinking. My answer coming up here in just a moment. If it was up to me, I would keep Tommy Mellott. And I would keep Tommy Mellott because if you drafted a player that you knew was going to take time to develop, why would you not give him time to develop? Even if it hasn't gone the way that you thought it would go, if you believe in your coaching staff, you keep on rolling with them because I'm worried if you put him on the practice squad, there's going to be another team that swoops in and takes them away. Let's go to the final here, offensive player on our surprise cut candidates list. Some of you might think this is a surprise. Some of you might not think it's a surprise. I don't know. I'm going to go Thayer Munford. And the reason why I'm going to put Munford on here is because if you follow a lot of the Raiders beat reporters, a lot of the Raiders beat reporters have Thayer Munford in their 53-man rosters. To me, if you're trying to keep an offensive tackle, I'm trying to keep Dalton Wagner over Thayer Munford. If John Spytek and Brandon Carroll looked me in the eyes and they said, well, Mitch, we're going to keep Munford to be an offensive guard. Good. That makes a lot more sense. If you're just keeping Munford because you want to have another offensive tackle because the guy you drafted in the third round, Charles Grant, is a developmental piece and it's not ready yet, okay, but let's keep the best offensive tackle out there. Dalton Wagner is that guy. And for the Raiders, they need more interior offensive line depth because, yes, Alex Cappa returned to practice on Tuesday, kind of, in a very limited fashion. But to me, I look at how much money we can save. You can save $1.1 million. You can use that money and you can invest it in going out and getting another player. Like I'm looking right now at the time I'm making this video, and Dalton Reisner, he had a visit with the Bengals, but no deal is done. I'd rather you take that money that maybe you saved from Raheem Mostert, take that money maybe that you saved from a Thayer Munford, and you go out and you invest that in a player like a Dalton Reisner, even if it costs you a little bit more, because I've seen the Thayer Munford project. I'm looking at it in the preseason. Look at the numbers. 44.1 overall grade. And quite frankly, if you've watched Munford, I can't believe that these grades are as high as what they are because he has really struggled in the pass protecting game. And I don't want there to be a situation where you're relying on Munford to go out there and protect Geno Smith because I'm going to be sweating bullets if it ends up happening. And quite frankly, I don't want to be sweating bullets. Coming up here on the show next, we got some of these surprise cut candidates on the defensive side of the football. And I think some of these names are going to be a little bit more eye-popping. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Also pretty eye-popping. I think my legs look pretty damn good in these chubby shorts. And even though summer is almost over, which it breaks my heart, Chubby's is still here to make sure that Raider Nation is looking their best. So whether you're poolside, lakeside, or oceanside, that long-awaited vacation, these swim trunks from Chubby's are an absolute game changer. And these are their lined swim collection from Chubby's. No more chafing, no more soggy butt, no more mesh disasters. And when the sun goes down and you're heading to the beach to dinner and you want to swap into a pair of everywhere shorts, they fit right, feel right, and go with everything. And after wearing them once, you're going to find yourself wondering, why the heck do I own even other shorts? For a limited time, our exclusive code is ChatSports, and you're going to be able to get $10 off at chubbyshorts.com. Let the thighs out and let the good times roll. Pair those shorts with the Chubby's Performance Polo, and you're good to go for a brunch, backyard party, or accidentally crashing a wedding. With a structured collar that stays sharp, four-way stretch for comfort, and breathable, moisture-wicking fabric, this polo keeps you cool and looking pulled together. It's also wrinkle-resistant, too, which is perfect because, let's be honest, you probably weren't going to iron it anyway. So whether you're suiting up for cannonballs, cookouts, casual Fridays, or a Raiders game day, Chubby's has you covered. And for a limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners $10 off your order with our code ChatSports at chubbys.com. That's code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com. Support our show. Let them know that we sent you. Give summer one last hurrah. Keep the good vibes going with Chubby's. Now, you're going to see the pictures here of the Raiders shorts and the shirt that I am wearing. You can get it at chubbyshorts.com. Just a friendly reminder to use that code ChatSports. And the stretch wicking, the wrinkle resistant, like I've been trying to show y'all how incredible this shirt is. It really, truly is. And if you do plan on going out to Las Vegas, it's hot out there. You need a shirt that also isn't going to show everyone that you're sweating. And believe it or not, you might be able to tell if you're watching this show live, I've been sweating. I sweat a lot when I talk on this program. Can you tell? Didn't think so. Let's go to surprise cut candidates now on the defensive side of the football. And I'm going to put up here linebacker Cody Lindenberg. And it kind of breaks my heart. I've been talking to Lindenberg's family. This is a really good kid. They love that he's a Raider, but I do wonder, by them going out and signing a Devin White, by them going out and getting an Landon Roberts, a Jamal Adams, a Jermaine Pratt, and you really got to consider, Jermaine Pratt and Jamal Adams, those were moves after the NFL draft. And the fact that those moves happened after the draft, that makes me wonder if they weren't 100% confident and maybe in some of the things that they were seeing out on the field, because the only linebacker that they drafted was Lindenberg, and he was a 7th-round pick. if the Raiders cut him, they're going to save $840K. You're eating just a small amount of money, and it's not very likely that teams end up cutting players that they draft. But you also, and this is one thing that I've been thinking about, the Raiders also made some key front office moves. And, they brought guys in from that Philadelphia Eagles organization, and they brought those dudes in after the draft. And I do wonder if there's something exactly what they're looking for. But I'll say this. I think Cody Lindenberg's a good player. And this is somebody that I would keep on this roster. And in the 46 snaps that he's played this season, according to PFF, he's done an okay job. He's looked like a rookie, and he's going to look like a rookie. But he has some ability. He's a very smart player. He's a good run stopper. And quite frankly, if I had to pick between Lindenberg and Tommy Eichenberg, I'd probably go with Lindenberg just because I do think he is a more complete player. Plus, he's younger and he's cheaper than Eichenberg. When I say cheaper, again, we're splitting hairs here a little bit. But Eichenberg's going into his second year where Lindenberg's going into his first year. But let's talk about two players that were featured on the show. Tommy Mellott was drafted in the 6th round. Cody Lindenberg was drafted in the 7th round. Overall, the Silver and Black took 11 players in the NFL draft. They originally had 9 draft picks. I almost wonder if you're this organization, you go, oh, we can move on from one of these guys if they're not good enough to make this team. So if you could keep only one player, and you had to keep either Tommy Mellott, type 19, or Cody Lindenberg, type 55, who would you end up keeping? My answer coming up here after this YouTube ad break. I'm going to go with number 55, and I'm going to go with Cody Lindenberg. And it's tough because I think if you're having the conversation of floor and ceiling, Lindenberg has the safer floor. But I do think that Tommy Mellott has a higher ceiling. But I'm also more confident in a linebacker who has played D1 division like Minnesota football, Big Ten football. He's going to be able to develop into a linebacker a little bit easier than trying to convert a really good athlete into a wide receiver. So because of that, I'm going to go that route. I'll also say I'm going to go that route because all the linebackers ahead of him, right, the veterans, they're on one-year deals. You let Lindenberg develop, you let Eichenberg develop, and then you let those two compete. I don't know why I said it like that. Let those two compete for that starting linebacker job, and then you go out and try to find a better linebacker in next year's draft. Let's go to another surprise cut candidate here, defensive tackle Leki Fotu. And to me, Fotu's got to be on surprise cut candidates shows because when the Raiders lost Christian Wilkins or moved on from Wilkins, however you want to say it, the number one guy that got in that defensive tackle rotation, it was Fotu. They put him out there. Now, he's been battling a foot injury, and he is now out of the walking boot. He was practicing today, but the Raiders also went out and they traded for Thomas Booker. I think also the reason why you have to consider potentially moving on from Fotu is because, you want John Ulalu, and I wonder if Zachary Carter is also going to make this team. They're going to let those guys develop. I thought J.J. Pegues looked really damn good in that game against the 49ers. I also think Tonka Hemingway's been putting some good tape out there. But I do wonder, and I do consider, do you put Tyree Wilson at defensive tackle more? And if you're willing to go with this younger approach because some of these players are a little bit healthy, where he's a question mark. And I'm not trying to sit up here and be like, oh, Leki Fotu's this unbelievable player. He barely made rosters last season, right? But I believe this defensive tackle room is coming together a little bit more, and I do wonder if they just let Fotu be the odd man out because he hasn't been able to practice, he hasn't been out there in training camp, and if you don't know what you have in a guy, you move on from him. At least that's what I could see this Raiders team doing. So we got one more player coming up here in just a moment, and I hope that you don't cut me out of your plans on Friday if you are going to end up showing up to Tucson, Arizona. I've been talking about this event a lot. I'm really fired up to be able to always shake hands, meet face-to-face with y'all, because at the end of the day, if Raider fans are watching the show, I want to get to know those type of Raider fans. So here's all the information that you need, and if you're looking for even more info, you can follow and DM Desert Shark Tucson on Instagram. It's right down there below. Find out what the giveaways are. Find out what the prizes are. Find out how many Raider fans are going to be there, because I've heard there is a lot, and I mean a lot of Raider fans planning to show up to this event. Let's go to the final surprise cut candidate here for the Las Vegas Raiders, and it's going to be cornerback Darnay Holmes. And I'm putting him on this list because I've seen Raiders beat reporters call him a lock to make this team. I've heard Raiders beat reporters call him a lock to be a starter. Well, Holmes has struggled in practice. I'll give him credit. He has been better in games. But Kai Blue Kelly and Greedy Vance, they've looked good this offseason. And I do wonder, could the Raiders potentially keep a UDFA and Greedy Vance? But also, Kai Blue Kelly today, I'm recording this video on Tuesday. He was getting reps as a starter as an outside corner, and he was getting starting reps at nickel, and he looked good at nickel. Quite frankly, he looked better than Darnay Holmes at nickel, and I think that this is somebody that this Raiders team does really believe in. Yes, Darnay has got those Patrick Graham connections, but I do wonder if Patrick Graham, when the Raiders originally re-signed Darnay, if they thought, well, we're going to run a defense maybe that's similar to the one that we've been running. But now it's a much different defense, and now they're running a lot more cover 3, and I don't know maybe if that fits exactly what Darnay is going to do because he doesn't have as much versatility. And it's really important for the Raiders to be able to add versatility to this defense. And I say all this, and, it's interesting because there's certain guys that are gamers, and there's certain guys that maybe practice better. Darnay has not looked good in practice, but he has played well when given the opportunities this preseason. 46 snaps in total, an overall PFF grade of 70.5. The tackling grade has been strong. He's covered well. Now, what type of talent is he going up against? He was playing in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, so you're not going up against the best of elite talent. You want your players to stand out. I just wonder if the Raiders sit back and they go, well, we like Kai Blue Kelly, and we like him more than Darnay Holmes, which I do think is a fact. The next thing you look at is there another player that we just believe that we can develop? And I wonder if Greedy Vance could be that player that they sit back and they go, can we develop him? Can he turn out to be something special? He was a USC player after all. So one more time here. Here are Raiders surprise cut candidates. 3 on offense, 3 on defense. If there's any other names that you think, Mitch, this could be an even bigger surprise, hey, let me know. If you made it this far in the video, I like to consider you a real one, and I appreciate that you took time out of your day to watch the Raiders Report. You can always hit me up on Instagram. You can always hit me up on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. And seriously, if you are near the Tucson area, I'm going to be there tomorrow. For those of you that are watching this live, I'm going to be there on Friday. I cannot wait to hang out with the nation. We're going to have a hell of a time, and I hope that you guys pull up and get a little bit rowdy because I know I am.